Oh, the Songstress. Hello and thank you for clicking on this video where I'll be sharing my experience of the Elysian Acoustic Labs Diva. This is a 6-balance armature driver IEM coming in at $1,600 US, which translates to about 2,400 Australian dollars. And that's a lot of money for this amount of drivers, but as they say, having multi-driver setups doesn't guarantee good sound, so will this IEM with its all BA setup be worth its asking price? Before we begin, I'd like to take this opportunity to once again thank Damien from the Australian Hi-Fi Tour for allowing me to be a part of this experience. And I'll leave links in the description down below if you'd like to check out other impressions of the Diva as well. As always, if you have enjoyed what I'm doing so far, a like and a sub to the channel would be greatly appreciated. And who knows, a Diva might suddenly appear in your life the moment you drop a sub. Wishful thinking of course, but anyway, let's talk about the unboxing. For accessories, I feel Elysian has taken inspiration, or you could even say copied, from Sony IAR Z1R's experience. And if you don't know how that's like, link is in the description down below, I've got you covered. But in a nutshell, you've got the box as you've seen in the opening, and opening that up, you'll be greeted by the Elysian case, which is like this soft felt case with the logo etched at the top. Opening this foam will reveal the IEMs themselves, and then there are 2 drawers, non-magnetic unlike the Sony's, but still. The first drawer reveals the cable, which for this package, the Diva is paired with the Effect Audio Aries S, which comes as stock. If you haven't checked out my Effect Audio video, that's essentially the bigger brother, so for the one that comes with the Diva, it's a much thinner, lighter version of the Aries S 8-wire. I'm guessing it pairs well sonically with the Diva because the Diva sounds great with it, more on that later. On the lower drawer, you have the warranty card, a wiping cloth, a cleaning tool, and a screwdriver. I'll explain more later. Let's talk about the design first. For the design of the IEM, the faceplate fully embodies a Diva. Shiny, sparkly, glitter and glam, and a lot of it. The Elysian logo in writing, which more often than not is overwhelmed by all that sparkle. But the way the Diva plays with lighting is gorgeous, but if you're looking for something simple, then this will not be your cup of tea, because the Diva demands attention, even if you don't intend it to be. Unfortunately, the Elysian Diva uses a unique Pentagon style pin connection as opposed to your usual 2-pin or MMCX, so finding a replacement cable will either be hard or expensive, or you can go with Effect Audio cables with the interchangeable pin connections, aka Con-X. Also at the back of the Diva, you'll see these 3 dots here. Well, the Diva comes with 3 tuning switches, and this is where you insert your screwdriver to turn the Diva on and let her rock your world. For fit and comfort, a lot of Diva's body sits outside of my ear, so it does rely on the nozzle to stay in, but with the right ear tips, it fits really well, at least for my ears. But the nozzle size may pose a problem for some people, but for me personally, I could listen to them for hours with no additional pressures around my ears. However, as I mentioned earlier, your experiences may vary. From my experience, the spin fits work really well with the Elysian Diva, and without further ado, let's talk about what makes this songstress sing. And the sound I'm about to describe is on the blue setting, which is supposedly the bassiest setting, and then I'll describe what the differences are, if any, on the red and white setting. Here we go. For bass, the Diva does not purr. She growls and she goes deep. I'm talking about sub bass, you filthy animal. There's just a lot of rumble coming in from the deep end to accompany your music. It is really satisfying to hear, and if you're all about sub bass, the Diva's got plenty. The mid bass sounds weighty, there's thickness to its notes. However, while it has some audible slam, it's a little bit flat in its attack. The sub bass distracts you from hearing that at times, but listening to Billie Eilish's Bad Guy, and I really had to focus on it because I was enjoying the sub bass a lot. The bass note punches, but it doesn't pound. It slaps, but it doesn't smack. It's just missing ever so slightly in that attack, that bass impact, and you could attribute this to BA bass, but hearing it as a whole is still better than a lot of BA bass presentation, at least from what I've heard from an all BA setup. For mid-range, the way the lower frequencies is presented keeps the mid-range clean, but the vocals don't sound too lean, at least from my listening experience. The vocals take center stage and is the highlight of the track, while being accompanied by the background music, and the background music never overwhelms or takes the spotlight away from the singer, which enforces the Diva's nickname, the Songstress. There's enough space between the sounds that they all do not overwhelm each other, yet they are all heard within the track. It can handle really busy tracks and still let you hear what you want to hear within the space. If you love your singers to be the focal point but not losing any sight of your background music, the Diva simply excels in this. For treble is always a tricky thing to tune. Too much of it and it can sound a little harsh, too little of it and it may sound too dark and details and sound clarity or openness take a hit. Elysian Acoustic is famous for having what a lot of people call sweet treble, which is treble that has a lot of air, a lot of power, but never crosses the realm of sibilance. And that is typically what is often associated on the Annihilator, which is another IEM from Elysian Acoustic. And if the Diva is a representation of that sweet treble, boy am I curious of the Annihilator, because the Diva still has a lot to give on the upper regions of the frequencies, but it still remains smooth. However, air instruments like the trumpets do suffer a little bit with its attack, ever so slightly smoothened out. If you expect to be bitten by the treble, I feel the Diva doesn't do that, but there's still a lot of air and power given to the notes. There's still some clarity and openness on the vocal notes. I would even recommend this to treble sensitive people because it just sounded so smooth to my ears, but of course your experiences may vary, but the Elysian treble does exist and is something to experience. For technicalities, if you read my written review of the Gaia on HeadFi, I felt everything was a little too forward and in your face, and I needed some space to breathe, and listening to the Diva is almost as if my concerns were heard even though the Gaia came out later than the Diva. The Diva pretty much sets the perfect distance between you and the sound, at least for me and my own personal preference. It's intimate when it needs to be. The vocals, as mentioned earlier, takes center stage and never loses its focus, but the sound stage is not wide, but the separation, placement of sounds, its imaging, it just wraps around the vocals and around your head as well, and that gives you an illusion of a holographic presentation. The details may not be as sharp or distinct as some of the IEMs I've heard at this price point, but this is the kind of presentation where the details are there when you focus on it, but it's meant for you to enjoy as you kick back and listen to the music. As a whole, it strikes the perfect balance for me in terms of sounding detailed but not being over analytical. It's not too recessed nor it's too forward. It's, as Goldilocks would say, it's just right, at least for me personally. So let's talk about tuning options and what do they affect on the sound on the Elysian Acoustic Diva. The most significant change for the white and red tuning will be predominantly in the bass region. Switching to the white setting, mid bass sounds a lot flatter. In fact, it sounds like BA bass characteristic now, with a much flatter impact, and there's not a lot of engagement coming through. There's still a bit of rumble coming in from the deep end, but not as much as the blue setting. On the red setting, however, it pretty much takes away the engagement factor, with flat sounding mid bass and little to no rumble. It's almost like Red Alert for no bass, and it kind of switches the Diva from a seductive songstress to a disciplinary school teacher that monitors all the sound that is being played. The mid and treble presentation becomes more prominent due to the reduction of bass. It's great that there are options for you to play with, but if you'd like more engagement, the blue is the way to go. But if you want a literal in-ear monitor, Red Alert no bass option. So to sum it all up, as I've said in my title, the Songstress stole my soul. Out of all the gears I've talked about from the Australian HeadFi tour so far, I've never been more sad to part ways with a gear than with the Elysian Acoustic Diva. It has set the standard for me of what laid-back listening sounds like, while still maintaining a level of engagement that never takes away the focus from the overall picture. I'm really happy to hear that a fellow countryman was able to create something that competes with the best of the best, and there are plenty of reasons why the Acoustic Labs Diva would be in anyone's collection, especially if you love vocals. Oh, I'm so sad to let this one go. Let the Huns begin. Once again, thank you to Damien from the Australian HeadFi tour for this opportunity, and to all of you for watching. Let me know in the comment section down below, what is your favorite Elysian Acoustic IEM that you've heard? Until the next experience, take care and happy listening.